will go to the ground.
Habari bwana DG, hawezi Nakuru. Habari yako? Salama, habari ya Nakuru. Sumo link. How are you? Habari yako mheshimiwa? Salama. Asante sana. Asante. Asante sana, habari yako? Salama kabisa. Yes, Waziri. How are you? We are very good. Good morning. Welcome to Olkaria. Thank you. Olkaria. How are you? Yes. Well.
It's a very national occasion whereby the ceremony of the day is a groundbreaking ceremony as well as agreed to fertilize the plant.
How are you? Hello. Good morning. Habari yako? How are you? Thank you. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Hello. Habari yako? Yes. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Thank you very much. Hello. How are you? One bag. Yes.
Bag. We want you to deliver the first bag.
Okay. Let's go. Let's stage hydrogen. Yes.
Let's give a hand of applause to His Excellency. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, my friend. My very best wishes. Thank you. Waziri. Sasa muendeshe hii maneno. Na wewe bwana pia. Yes.
Now welcome, Your Excellency. Now His Excellency is officially breaking the ground for the company construction to start. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly let's give a hand of applause to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto. Remember, it's a two-in-one, whereby we're going to have the Kaishan Olkaria Geothermal Power Plant, as well as the green fertilizer plant. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Today, we are groundbreaking an $800 million facility that is going to generate 165 megawatts of energy. It is going to produce 480 metric tons of fertilizer. That is phenomenal, that is historic, that is big. And therefore, to all of you, the engineers who will be participating here, the professionals who will be participating here, the investors, our friends who have demonstrated confidence in our country. It is not always that you find an investor who is ready to put 100 billion in one's country. We take pride as the people of Kenya that investors are finding our country an interesting and a safe destination for their investment. And therefore, I want to thank Keshan and all their partners. I see the contractors there, RB, I don't know who these guys are. They must be good people. Keshan here, of course, our own Kengen and Sinochem, the whole lot of you guys. I want to assure you that the government of Kenya is 100% behind this project. We're going to give an offtake agreement for the fertilizer for our farmers, because we are spending close to 60 billion shillings every year importing fertilizer. Once we produce fertilizer from this plant, we will not be importing fertilizer into Kenya. We will be manufacturing our own fertilizer, and that will be a very big step in the right direction. We will not only save foreign exchange, we will also use our own assets and resources to develop our country. Therefore, this is a major demonstration of confidence in Kenya by investors, and a major step as a country in leading the way in our continent on green manufacturing. I have been a big champion of green industrialization, green energy, and how else could we demonstrate to the world that we can match our words with our actions. And today marks a decisive step in the journey to making what we have always talked about, green energy, a reality, by not only producing green energy, but also green fertilizer, and end up with green products from Kenya. And therefore, I am looking forward to working with the leaders in this space, members of parliament, both at the National Assembly and the Senate, as we push the new initiative that will give us an infrastructure fund that is going to work with the private sector. We all realize that unless we leverage the private sector, we will not have enough resources to drive our transformation. But if we work with the private sector, like in this particular case, Keshan is investing $800 million. That is 100 billion shillings. That is not our money. That is not in the balance sheet of the Kenya government. It is private sector money. But how are we connecting the dots? We are giving them a power purchase agreement. We are going to give them a fertilizer purchase agreement that is going to support this investment. The National Infrastructure Fund will be able to be the fulcrum where we can structure more investments, leveraging on public resources, public assets, to leverage private sector resources to be able to implement public projects. Just here in Naivasha, this month, I will be coming to launch the road from Rironi to Mau Summit. It is going to cost anywhere between 170 and 200 billion. Again, it is not public money. How are we leveraging the private sector? This is private sector money. We are going to give them a concession agreement that is going to generate resources for them to repay their investment. And this is the kind of innovation and creativity that we need in the public sector for us to use public assets, public resources to leverage 3, 4, 5 times private sector resources to be able to drive our transformation. It is no longer possible for us to borrow money to build a road like the one we are going to build here from Rironi to Mau Summit. If we were to borrow 200 billion shillings, we would have to close our books and do nothing else. So it is important for us to know, how are we going to think outside the box? We need to be strategic, we need to be innovative, and we need to be agile in how we leverage the resources that we have. And that is why I am determined that our country has tremendous potential, and we've always talked about it. But we haven't actualized because there has not been enough strategic thinking, enough creative and innovative investments to be able to unlock the great potential that our country is. And that is why I insist that Kenya is a third world country by mistake. And we owe it to the people of Kenya to get Kenya to the right place. Kenya is supposed to be among the first world countries. And we can do it in our lifetime if we are strategic, if we are innovative, and if we can think outside the box. And therefore, I am very confident that this investment energizes our resolve of transforming Kenya to that great nation that it should be. As you all appreciate, investments in energy are among the most capital-intensive ventures any nation can undertake. Expanding generation, transmission, and distribution requires massive upfront resources, yet it remains the foundation of every thriving economy. Without affordable and reliable power, there cannot be true industrialization, no thriving enterprise, and no inclusive prosperity. That is why we must pursue innovative and sustainable pathways to expand our national energy capacity. Kenya cannot realize her industrial and development aspirations on the current installed capacity of 2,300 megawatts. To power our ambition in manufacturing, mining, agriculture, infrastructure, and digital innovation, we must think bigger, move faster, and invest smarter. As government, we have therefore set out an ambitious target to increase our national energy capacity to at least 10,000 megawatts in the next decade. Achieving this goal will demand bold partnerships, creative financing, and strategic foresight. It is the reason why we are not only giving priority to public-private partnerships, such as the one we launched here today, but also establishing a national infrastructure fund to mobilize long-term blended capital for transformative projects, not only in energy, but also in transport, in our airports, in roads, in our dams, and other critical enablers of growth. Beyond its environmental and social impact, this project is also a sound commercial investment. With a total investment value of US $800 million, it is projected to generate more than 13 million US dollars, that is 1.7 billion Kenya shillings in annual profits to KenGen, while opening new frontiers for carbon credit generation and trading under international climate mechanisms. Around the world, markets are rewarding sustainability. Green fertilizer will give Kenyan exports a competitive edge, open new markets for our agribusinesses, and strengthen our position in global value chains. Kenya is proud to lead Africa in proving that green innovation is both profitable and sustainable. From deep beneath the Rift Valley flows one of our greatest industrial treasures, the geothermal steam. Kenya holds an estimated 10,000 megawatts of geothermal potential, yet we have harnessed just less than 10%, which is 1,000 megawatts. Kenya's leadership in geothermal energy gives us a unique advantage to power green industries sustainably. This project will tap 165 megawatts of geothermal power to synthesize green ammonia and convert it into fertilizer, the first project of its kind in Africa. Beyond fertilizer production, this venture will prevent more than 600 tons of carbon dioxide emission every year, equivalent to getting 130,000 internal combustion engine cars off the road. At the same time, it will create more than 1,000 jobs, offering opportunities for our young people and local communities. It will also nurture a new generation of geothermal engineers, hydrogen experts, process operators, and innovators in many fields. the pioneers who will power Africa's green industrialization future. This event is significant because it speaks to the heart of our nation, and that is farming. And I speak so passionately as a farmer myself that we will now have fertilizer that is not imported. For record, we spend close to 80 billion shillings every year to import fertilizer to Kenya. This plant will now generate fertilizer from our own geothermal resources using local products, using local raw materials, local energy, local human capital, and 480 metric tons is close to 9.2 million 50 kilogram bags of fertilizer. That means that not only will farmers have a reliable supply of fertilizer that is not predicated on events elsewhere in the world, whether we have war in Europe or elsewhere, we will not have trouble with logistics, but much more importantly, it's going to save us on our foreign exchange. We will not be using our foreign exchange to import fertilizer. We will be producing fertilizer from our own resources. This morning is a great morning for Kenya and for those of us who are farmers. I am making the first order of 5,000 bags of fertilizer. The first fertilizer I will be the one to use in my farm. Because for decades, farmers, who are the cornerstone of our nation, have borne the burden of unpredictable fertilizer prices, supply shocks, and global volatility. These challenges have inflated food costs, reduced yields, and strained household incomes. In 2023 alone, Kenya imported more than 600 metric tons of fertilizer at a cost of close to 80 billion shillings. In just the first half of 2025, we have imported 443 tons of fertilizer worth nearly 60 billion. That is between January and now. Each shipment represents a cost to our national treasury and to our dollar reserves, and a lost opportunity for young people in Kenya. This government is determined to change that reality, and today's event marks a decisive step towards self-sufficiency and resilience in fertilizer production. The Kenyan Kaishan Green Fertilizer Plant will produce, as I have said, 480 metric tons of fertilizer every year, guaranteeing farmers a steady and affordable supply. It will shield our economy from global price shocks, strengthen food security, and save the country's valuable foreign exchange reserves that can be now redirected to other national priorities. It is significant because for the first time in the African soil, fertilizer will be produced from ammonia that is coming from green energy. This is the first ever plant in this continent that this is going to happen. We have been in many meetings. Ever since I came into office, I held the Africa Climate Summit to discuss how to balance environment and nature and to persuade many who do not see how it is possible for us to live in a world that is sustainable and to have energy that does not interfere with nature. Today is a testimony that green energy is not only sustainable, but it is possible to power our energy needs using green energy. This event represents an investment of $800 million. That is close to 100 billion shillings. It demonstrates confidence in the Republic of Kenya, and it gives us an indication of what investors think about Kenya. When we say we have stabilized our economy, we have brought inflation under control, We have stabilized our exchange rate, and our economy is on sound footing. This is what you get: confidence by investors to put their money in our country.